right, well, welcome back, everyone. We'll just take a minute here, allow other people to join us. Apologize for the delay as we were working on some technical issues with the last session. And we'll start momentarily.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Hey, Shally.
Beautiful.
All right, I had to dial in from my cell phone. I don't know why it wouldn't let me use my headphones.
All good,
yeah.
Just in time. All right, we'll get started the last few minutes here for the event. I do want to thank our audience for joining us for the second annual RPOA conference. And I hope you're feeling as recharged, refocused, and revitalized as we do. A little exhausted, but it's been a wonderful event. We listened to a thought-provoking keynote, 2 outstanding panels, and a groundbreaking fireside chat, 11 erudite speakers. We're going to wrap up our event with some key takeaways from a dynamic duet you're gonna love. Before we do, I'd like to take a couple of minutes to share a few notes about the RPOA and some of our upcoming events. The Recruitment Process Outsourcing Association is a member-driven and association-driven organization serving the RPO ecosystem and striving to be the place to go for RPO. Our mission is to nurture a collaborative community where thought leadership can be created and curated to educate the marketplace about RPO. We produce quality content in collaboration with our corporate members and sponsors. Our content is focused on talent acquisition trends, best practices for the RPO community. The RPO Leadership Forum is a webinar series hosted on the 3rd Tuesday of each month at noon Eastern Time. We moved this year the format to 30 minutes because we know everyone is busy and feel Zoom fatigue. We're keeping our webinars short and sweet whenever possible. Next Tuesday, you're invited to join us for a webinar from Broadleaf to learn how RPO can help businesses address the great rehire. In November, we're excited to have Shally Steckerl for the first time on the program to speak with Patty Silbert on sourcing, in particular, how you can find out if a sourcer is as good as they claim. You can find upcoming events from the RPOA on the website under the Events tab, and you can access webinar recordings and other content through the RPO Academy on the website. Not this, I do want to give a quick plug and get back to the conference. I do want to share a shameless plug to books by 2 of our speakers. Sprint Recruiting by Trent Cotton. I hope you were able to listen to the fireside chat. It's a new book released and a must read. Second, the Talent Sourcing and Recruitment Handbook by Shally Steckerl is one of the most popular on the topic in the industry. You can find both on Amazon, and talking about Amazon, we are giving away Amazon gift cards in a few minutes. Hint, hint, ideas for those winners. Lastly, we are hoping our conference will not be virtual next year, and we will see you in person. We expect to host the conference in October again, like this year, and we are asking for your help. Help us dream of a destination for our event. I would like to launch a poll, and I want to ask you to take a minute to vote on one of 4 proposed destinations. Jessica, can I get the poll, please? So where do you see us meeting? Would you like to join us in Chicago, Atlanta, Dallas, or DC? And if this is like the other polls we've seen today, it'll be very distributed and that's not going to help me much.
I'll be the tiebreaker. I vote Atlanta.
We might give you that weight. All right, let's end that poll in. All right, let's end the poll and.
Oh no.
Jesse, okay.
Oh no, there's a winner. There's a winner.
Chicago. All right, I do like that. That's fantastic. Very good. So I'm just trying to remove that window. Let's not worry about that, and let's keep moving. Sorry, just clean my screen so I can see where we are. With that, I would like to introduce our co-host for the second fireside chat and our conclusion for the grand finale for this event, Shally and Jenn. I will probably, instead of taking time to do introductions, do you mind doing quick introductions, and then we will jump right into your key takeaways and insights. So if you don't mind, Shally, starting with you.
Sure, no problem. My name is Shally Steckerl, but you can call me Shally. I've been in the industry for about 25 years, and I'm frequently credited as being one of the major culprits behind the sourcing movement.
He says culprit, I say founder, but okay. I'm Jenn Terry-Tharp, and I currently am the head of strategic initiatives at Joveo, a programmatic job ad provider. And prior to this, I spent 21 years leading the talent acquisition function for AT&T. I do blogs and video chats and that sort of thing. And I love any opportunity to work with Lamise and Shally. And I also got to attend an entire conference today. Like that was one of the best. So let me see, if you don't mind, I'm just going to start right off with let's recap and see where we're at, right?
Go for it. Yes, absolutely.
So Shally and I have the benefit of a little private chat on the back end, and we both have so much to say. We have literally been here all day. So if you haven't, we will be able to give you some key takeaways. So I think that we should start at the top end. Zach, right? The new old war for top talent. My sort of gem off of this one before you get to it, Shally, is I loved the whole idea of the internal equity and recruiting from within your own companies, right? Maybe it's because I came from a big AT&T, but the thought that the generational skills transfer and making sure that your boomers are informing your millennials, and that there's a copacetic mentor relationship there. I thought that was a really good long-term strategy for dealing with sort of the ebbs and flows in talents. Anything else, or anything you want to add to that from the first session, Shally?
Absolutely. I actually really like that before and after slide that he had, where it was like skills misalignment on one side and scalable retirement on the other. And that was like my favorite slide. I took a screenshot of that one. It's kind of like there's really not a whole lot of difference. And I think his point was, is this really different? But the survey at the beginning, he said, does this feel like it's really different than any other upheaval in our industry? And the response from the survey was, it kind of feels a lot the same. It's just some nuances that are different. And he had a slide that really showed how similar, this pandemic has been as a disruptor to our industry as others in the past. But the differences were striking. So where he talked about the reevaluation of workforce value, that was something that really struck a chord with me, as far as and I heard this with other presenters as well, with the gig economy and people feeling like they're underpaid. So hopefully I'm not tying too many things together here, but basically what he was saying is that there's this stagnation in automation that right now is we're facing in recruiting. But what we're really dealing with, that's a huge change, is people are reevaluating the reasons they go to work and what motivates them at work. Now, there's a couple of other points later on that came into play, but that was something that really hit. For me, the biggest takeaway from his presentation from Zach's though, and one of the biggest takeaways in the entire conference for me was that there really is a need for sourcing to get a lot more sophisticated, because everybody seems to be going to the same places for talent, and it's not going to, people are retiring, the talent pool is shrinking, there's a lot of differences with globalization, but at the end of the day, if we all keep going back to the same pool of candidates, we're just going to be tripping over each other's candidates. And so sourcing needs to be a lot more sophisticated. To me, that was the biggest takeaway from that.
Okay, and because Shally and I are buds, I'm just going to tell you, right? Like Shally's a sourcing guy. So I expect, right? Like I agree, and I totally expect that. It's funny though, because you know what I took away from that same sort of narrative that Zach gave? I literally wrote down, embrace the 70% job match, right? Like, I think that you're like on the lead of that, the like, let's get better job matches, source more proficient, find the right people in the well so that you don't have to look
source
at it
in more places.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
And then I sort of took that. I was like, okay, cool, right? But like, oh my gosh, if that hiring manager would just hire that guy that's a 70, the best of the group,
That's
right?
so true.
Right. Like, so I think that
Yeah.
it's interesting just because of our backgrounds, how we kind of see the same problem in both ends of it. I thought Zach's session was great. And, you mentioned the whole sourcing and finding people in different places and the candidate motivators. In the second session, I have to say, one of the things that I found just like so obvious, but like I kind of had backburnered it maybe a little bit in the last year, was the whole idea about COVID the whole enhanced benefits and all of that, and the entry-level workers don't want to work and all of that. I really liked the perspective that is entry-level workers really realize that their life is more important than a little bit of work, right? Like, so motivators have changed, and that's made EVPs and being transparent and all of those things, candidate experience, all of those things be just as important as it was before, like, right? Like all of that didn't change. We just maybe kind of went a little dark on that when we stopped hiring during COVID. I don't know. I sort of took it as like a refresher. Thoughts? Anything else?
The overcoming friction presentation. Yeah. So there was a survey where it said something like all the data that had collected, people are not going back to work because, and it had them ranked 1 through 4. Number 1 was pay. So it seems like it's all about the pay. They're not going back to work because they're not getting paid enough, or they're not getting paid what they feel that they're worth. Second to that was the nature of the work. Third was schedule, or I would maybe say expanding that to like flexibility of hours and flexibility of work environment. And then the last one, number 4, is safety. To me, it was like, wow, so fewer people are refusing to go back to work because of safety concerns around COVID, and more people are refusing to go back to work because they're not getting paid enough. I have to wonder how much of those two are connected. Like, if you pay me enough, I'm willing to overcome my 100%. Concerns around safety, or, right? Maybe it's just not worth me getting paid that lower rate to deal with the safety issues, but the safety issues are going to be there no matter what you pay me. So maybe that's not what's the, obstacle. To me, that was a little bit striking, especially because a lot of clients I work with, they're telling me we're offering more money than they can get from unemployment benefits, and we're offering more money than we did before, but yet people are still turning us down.
I think that COVID has potentially, and this kind of came up in the session, it's potentially put a new lens on why you work. Right? If you can't get predictability, and if all of those sort of bottom rungs of the hierarchy of needs aren't met, how important is it really for you to go have a latte or whatever it is, right? Like, so I think maybe some reprioritization. So very interesting. Any other big takeaways from the conference? You want to do our top 3? I think we're getting close on time with our giveaway. How?
My last one of my top 3, I mean, the first one was the sourcing sophistication need, right? The second one was about the pay, not right. Is it the pay, or is it really I'm willing to forego the safety in order to, go back to work and get more money? The third one for me was with Trent Cotton in just the last session when he was talking about, I think he called it recruiting sprints, or maybe it's sprint recruiting. So I really like that. Resonated with me very well, because for many years I've been talking about sourcing pods and the efficiency of creating a sourcing pod. Folks, this is not new. All due respect to Trent, he's got a really cool way of packaging it, and I totally get it. And what I'm saying is I really like what he had to say, because it resonates with my sourcing pod model. But really, Henry Ford invented the just-in-time manufacturing process back in the, 40s or something. Agile isn't new, but this whole concept of sprints and agile recruiting and doing things in these small batches, that isn't new, but it makes a big difference, because we can't just be spread out. I mean, how many times do you talk to a team where the recruiters say, oh yeah, I've got 50 recs? No, you don't. You don't have 50 recs. You might have 50 recs assigned to your name, or 300 recs assigned to your name, but you're not working all 50 recs the same day, are you? Right? So this batch processing, agile, sprint, whatever you want to call it, this is the key to being able to work on lots of different, let's just say, objectives in the organization. So for me, that was a big takeaway.
You know, it's interesting. So as I sat here all day, and I come from like the enterprise employer side, for my whole life, right? And so in a lot of cases, I'm the customers of this audience, right? Or I used to be the customers of this audience. And the amount of insights given from the group today, it just shifted my perspective on how they're approaching things. A couple of things that I took away: the care and consideration of candidates, whether they're internal or external, being prompt and thoughtful. Like, that's stuff that we know that we should do. But something that I hadn't heard as called out so clearly as I heard today in both the panel and the fireside chat is, this isn't about why you should work for me. This is why we're a good mutual fit. It's like we've passed, you know what I'm saying? It's like we've passed that, let me put the want ad out there and the lines of people come and then I pick which ones I want. It was really about, are you good for me and am I good for you? And are we going to be good together for a good enough period of time, right? That could be a year or 5 years, depending on the training and learning curve. The idea of 100% job match candidate being a thing of the past, like I will walk away from this, and I have already sent Zach a LinkedIn message. I think that this is the greatest thing that I have ever heard. And I think that really understanding what 70% is important to achieve your business objectives, like that's something that if every hiring manager could learn, we could make $1 bajillion. And then the last thing, I told Lamise this as we were prepping for this session to start and we were having some technical difficulties. The whole ICE acronym from Trent, I called and cared enough. Right? Like, I think that a lot of time is wasted where you could be doing really good, important hiring activities and you're spending it chasing cats, right? So no need to herd cats. You called and cared enough. So I hope that those are some good takeaways for everybody. And I hope some of you get to take away a prize. Lamise, is that what we are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually also interested to hear some of the takeaways from our participants today. So if you have your own takeaway, just chime in. Let's hear what these are in the chat. For me personally, I think it will be fascinating to see how much of what we heard today is transitory and how much we're going to carry on into 2022 and beyond. So it's always interesting to look forward as well. Well, for the takeaways, I think what I'll do is to share the scoreboard. So let me go ahead and share my screen so we can all look at this together. This is the first time we are using this platform and doing this takeaway. So the scoreboard kept score based on participation in the event. So it looks like our top 10, I'll be removing myself so we can add additional people. And we'll take Shally. He's taking care of, and your attendance is noted, Shally.
One would hope, right?
Yeah, so we're doing this, and I think we're also adding additional notes. We'll need to do those manually. We're adding points for social media sharing. So I don't know, Shally is going to help us look online for hashtags for RPOA Con 2021, add those to the scoreboard, and decide on the final 10 winners. We'll contact the winners after the event and give them their awards. All right, let me stop sharing my screen. Where are we here?
I've got the social shares, but I don't know how to add them to. I can't add it to the leaderboard, so I'll send those to you.
We'll do those afterwards, no problem. I'm just looking for any final takeaways. Looks like Michelle here saying her takeaway was just hearing about the money and how relevant it really is. She was starting to think she was just making an excuse, and I guess it's always good to validate these internal assumptions we make, isn't it? So it was nice to hear thoughts out loud from others. And thank you, Matt, for thank you for the note. We appreciate your participation as well. Well, it's been really thrilling, and I love we did this session with the takeaways. It was really fun to hear the insights and your takeaways, Shally and Jenn, for the session and bringing just the event all together. It's been really a pleasure being with all of you, and look forward to seeing you in a future event. With that, I do want to wrap up our event, and best of luck, everyone. Go hire people. I know everyone is just busy hiring people, and best of luck with everything. Good seeing everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.